global citizens, remote workers, and tax fugitives. Today, we're peeling back the filters and unpacking the biggest, most filtered lie of the last decade. The digital nomad. Look at the aesthetic. Go on Instagram. It's always the same picture. A laptop strategically placed next to an infinity pool in Bali. Maybe a single glass of lukewarm Aperol Spritz, and a caption like, "Trading my 9 to 5 for my 24/7. Or the classic, "My office view today is better than your entire life." Stop lying to yourselves! The digital nomad isn't a revolutionary. They're just a freelancer with severe tax anxiety who ran away from their mounting student loan debt and their perfectly normal, boring therapist. That's all you are. You think you're living the dream? I'm here to wake you up. Let's be honest about what the digital nomad life really looks like. It is not sipping cocktails at sunset. It's sitting on a plastic patio chair at 3 a.m. because that's the only time zone that overlaps with your demanding client in New York. You've got terrible posture, you're sweating through your linen shirt that you bought specifically for the aesthetic, and the Wi-Fi keeps dropping out, forcing you to hold your laptop up to the single dusty ceiling fan, praying for one more bar. Your neck is perpetually craned, your spine is fused in the shape of a question mark, and you're convinced that your back pain is just part of the journey. The caption says manifesting abundance. The reality is, I'm desperately trying to finish this SEO report before the $2 a night hostel throws me out. And I think I have food poisoning again. You brag about location independence. No, you are dependently cheap. You're not choosing Medellin for its vibrant culture. You're choosing it because your rent in Austin became unsustainable, your student loan payment is due, and the cost of living is just low enough to keep the repo man away from your beat-up MacBook. You didn't find freedom. You just outsourced your poverty to a developing nation. You are a walking symbol of gentrification, armed with a VPN and an inability to speak the local language. And the office? The laptop screen is always glare-filled, your back is permanently hunched because the table height was designed for a kindergartner, and you're constantly fighting a tropical insect that thinks your spacebar is prime real estate. You call that an adventure. I call it relocated misery. You haven't escaped the system. You've just made your cubicle portable. You are a high-speed international delivery service for your own professional despair. You traded your domestic anxiety for international low-grade visa anxiety. And what about the constant moving? You call it exploration. I call it commitment fatigue. Every 3 months, you pack up your life, which consists mostly of chargers and a hydro flask, and move because you have the attention span of a goldfish chasing a dropped crumb of bread. You are a professional runner, and the starting gun is the sound of anyone asking you to sign a 1-year lease. Let's talk money, because that's the real engine driving this whole circus. The pitch is always, I quit my job and now I live off passive income. You don't have passive income. You have unstable contract work and a profound ability to manipulate foreign exchange rates. Your income streams are trickle-down anxiety. The financial freedom you're chasing is a sham. You're not saving money. You're engaging in advanced amateur tax evasion. You're using tourist visas to illegally work in countries, and then you cry on Reddit about how the local government is unfriendly when they finally catch on to your scam. You are the walking definition of a tax fugitive. You're not spending money on culture. You're spending it on finding the cheapest flight because you need to exit the Schengen zone before your 90-day tourist visa expires, lest you face the grim reality of accountability. Your culture is whichever airport lounge has the cleanest bathrooms and the fastest Wi-Fi. And when you do splurge, what do you buy? Another digital nomad minimalist backpack. A $300 bag designed to carry only the bare necessities, which for you means your laptop, 6 chargers, and your deep, crippling fear of commitment. You're not a minimalist. You just can't afford to check a bag. And you need to be able to pack up your entire life in under 8 minutes when the visa police show up. You haven't broken the chains of capitalism. You are an optimization tool. You exist to find the exact global coordinates where your hourly wage can buy the most disappointing bowl of street noodles. You're a human algorithm focused on minimizing overhead and maximizing your performative vacation photos. You're a global arbitrage specialist for your own mediocre existence. And the worst part is the philosophy you peddle. You talk about vibrations and manifesting your truth and living intentionally. You didn't find your truth on a silent retreat. You found it because you finally realized that your US-based salary means you can afford a personal maid in Thailand. That's not enlightenment, that's economic privilege dressed up as spirituality. And who is the primary glorious idiot fueling this nomadic delusion? Who makes this whole thing insufferable? The Sagittarius! Sagittarius, you are here! You are the first to buy the one-way ticket and the first to run from the consequences. Your entire identity is built on the word freedom. Freedom from commitment, freedom from responsibility, freedom from ever having to do your own laundry. You have a pathological, almost chemical aversion to being nailed down. A lease agreement is a death sentence. A relationship lasting more than 6 months is a federal crime in your eyes. You think you're a philosophical explorer. You read one book by Nietzsche, bought a one-way ticket, and now you bore every fellow traveler with your insights on the Western materialistic trap. You're not an intellectual. You're a tourist with a superiority complex. No, you are not a philosophical explorer. You are a commitment fugitive. You don't travel to find answers. You travel to make sure the questions can't catch up to you. Your deepest fear isn't dying alone. It's being forced to sit still long enough to actually hear your own thoughts. You run from relationships like a celebrity runs from a subpoena. You are the sign most likely to break up with someone via a pre-scheduled email from a different continent. You call it protecting your independence. Everyone else calls it being a flaky coward. The digital nomad life is Sagittarius crack cocaine. It feeds your pathological need for novelty and your simultaneous inability to face a single uncomfortable truth about your life. You think you're chasing adventure. You're actually chasing a cheaper cup of coffee and a different view while still stressing about your Slack notifications. You just took your domestic anxiety and gave it an international roaming plan. You are the movable negative asset. You carry your cubicle with you. You carry your debt with you. You carry your failed relationships with you. You didn't find freedom. You just confirmed that no matter where you go, there you are. And you're still a flight risk. You're the world's most expensive form of self-therapy that doesn't actually work. And the content you produce is the final insult. Every single post is a lie. You filter the colors until the water looks impossibly blue. You crop out the pile of dirty dishes and the exhausted look in your eyes from working 14 hours straight. You spend more time crafting the perfect caption about living authentically than you spend actually talking to a local who isn't selling you a souvenir. You talk about authenticity and living in the moment while spending 6 hours editing a single photo to make your mediocre lunch look like a spiritual experience. You are not connecting with the culture. You are just colonizing the local Wi-Fi and demanding they speak English. You spend more time talking to your remote coworker in Denver than you do talking to the person who cooks your food every day. You didn't immerse yourself. You just found a cheap foreign backdrop for your same American self-absorption. You run from your terrible apartment in Brooklyn to a terrible Airbnb in Lisbon, and you wonder why you're still miserable. It's because the misery isn't geographic, Sagittarius. It's internal. It's built into your pathological need to avoid the quiet, boring stability required for real growth. Your quest for freedom is just a profound fear of committing to a single stationary consequence. So, what have we learned? The digital nomad is a myth. It's a beautifully crafted, highly filtered lie sold to you by debt-ridden influencers who are running just as fast as you are. And I know what you're going to blame. You'll blame the stars. I didn't quit my job and go broke, Lobo. Saturn was in my 9th house of long-distance travel. I was cosmically obligated to flee. No, Saturn doesn't sponsor your visa runs. Venus isn't paying your overdue credit card bill. The universe is 14 billion years old. It has watched empires crumble, continents split, and entire species go extinct. You think it paused all that just to make sure you found a hostel with a working power outlet so you could finish your passive-aggressive Slack message to your ex-boss? You think the cosmos cares that your manifestation journal is almost full? Number. The universe doesn't care about your wanderlust. It doesn't care about your passport stamps. It cares about gravity and thermodynamics. It's a vast, cold expanse of nothingness. And you are a tiny, miserable creature who just relocated his misery to a beach with terrible Wi-Fi. You didn't find freedom, Sagittarius. You just traded a predictable jail for a portable one. And that's the real truth. Now go find a cheap beer and contemplate your lack of 401k.